we've touched upon the TMO already, the technicalities of that TMO decision. Brendan, your steam was coming out of your ears off air, so I am going to hand over to you purely because actually that decision went against your predictions' favour. So
yeah, it robbed me of an absolute belting prediction. Listen, the thing about TMO in rugby, for me, people compare it to cricket. It's very different from cricket and the DRS system. And the thing in cricket is the umpire gives you out, you're out, and it's the player who appeals and invokes what we would call the TMO process. You know, I didn't hit that, or I did hit that, or that's pitching outside a leg. So he is challenging the umpire. Now, you can't have that too often. The umpire has to keep his authority within the game. But so they get 3 challenges in an innings. And of course, they keep them, don't they, if they are a successful challenge. Now, in rugby, when the TMO is invoked, it's because the ref doesn't know. It's because he can't really make his mind up. He's not sure. The players have no say in it. I mean, I know they chopsy and they'll say, you know, go up to TMO, but they actually have no say in it. So it's either invoked because the referee doesn't know or the TMO doesn't know. So this, first of all, the absolute basic thing is you do not have decision on the field. That's irrelevant. Just bin it. It doesn't matter. You're going to the TMO to find out what happened. But the system we've got at the moment is there's a weighting given to the decision on the field. And that sort of really hampers you when you're trying to get to the truth. So that first of all, that whole scenario has got to be dealt with. We can't have that anymore. And we used to have try, no try, didn't we? First 10 years of TMO, it was try, no try. And then on this one, so he calls it the TMO. So his original decision is no try, held up. But he's not sure. He doesn't know. So he calls in the TMO. Already, the decision is prejudiced because he said it's no try. We look at it. I reckon it's pretty clear. It's about 97, 98% clear that it's a try. Now, you can't say it's 100% clear. And the way the system is set up is that they probably aren't going to give it now unless it's 100% clear. But even that is a nonsense because almost no try is 100% clear. We had a forward pass for England with the Dingwall try, which wasn't even queried on Saturday. We had Van der Merwe's try, first try last week, not even remotely a try. It was a 2-yard forward pass. So that's a very high bar to expect when you're looking at the TMO footage that it has to be 100% clear. And the reason they're doing that is this nonsense about having this call on the field. They've got to cut that out. Let the TMO decide it, or let the footage decide. And the referee can take the lead. They can review it together and he can still retain his authority by making the call. But
that's exactly what happened. They reviewed it together.
Yeah, but don't prejudge. But it was
probably
exactly what didn't happen, Nicken. It's exactly what didn't happen. Because the decision already been made, McNeice reminded him that you have to be absolutely sure to turn it over. And in the end, they bottled it.
They sure did. But look, I mean, one of the things about it is, I mean, I'm going to bring in a sort of an oblique angle here. I hate these sort of, 2-inch bloke bloody well drops to his knees, propels himself over the line from, by inches. I mean, it's sort of, they're the worst tries in the game, that sort of a try. And in a way, I think that it's a sort of, it's poetic justice in a sense when they're in a way when they're not given. There was nothing in that where you're probably right. Probably 90% you'd say that looking at the eventual grounding, which took a bloody age, at the eventual grounding, he probably got it. But there was nothing that I could see of. You couldn't even see Skinner, who's the bloke who scored it. You couldn't see his head. You couldn't see anything to do with him. I couldn't see his body. I couldn't see his hands. I did see a Frenchman's arm in a sort of almost like an arm wrestle position and so on and so forth. I don't know whether Skinner grounded it, and nor did they. The likelihood is that he probably did the balance of probabilities. But, what infuriates me about it is that rugby has invested in technology, but it hasn't gone. You either go the whole hog with this stuff or you don't. Now, chip technology, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you can you know, differentiate between one arm from one team and another arm from another team in terms of who's grounded it. With chip technology, I don't know if there's a way, but what I do know is that they haven't got enough camera angles. You look at American football, and they've got so many camera angles that usually, and they find them incredibly quickly as well.
They're all on Taylor Swift.
They get, yeah, yeah. That too. That's the other 200 cameras. but they've got so many bloody camera angles, and their process, by comparisons with rugby seems to be, in terms of its sort of TV technology, seems to be in the bloody dinosaur age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing, so Peter, you mentioned that you're obviously very pro TMO, and it was interesting seeing sort of Brian McNese's thought process in terms of making that decision, because he sort of seemed to play his own devil's advocate in that he initially said, "This looks to me like a try." Then as soon as
you can give the try.
Nick,
You can give the try.
yeah, then Nick Berry goes to give the try, and he's like, "Hang on, Nick. Actually, let's go back and takes Nick Berry through the disallow process, which it ended up obviously being." Jonathan Davis, the Jiffy version, not the younger version, has said anonymize the TMO, and you just wonder whether there was a little sort of devil on Brian McNese's shoulder saying, your name is being pinned to this decision. Go through every possible thought process there is. If he's anonymous, the backlash, which in the Whistleblowers documentary, for example, every referee speaks about, is eliminated somewhat.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I do agree with the fact that why should the referee make an on-field decision, or basically the on-field decision from Nick Berry was that it wasn't a try, and that was relayed to the TMO before the TMO looked at the footage, which I don't particularly agree with, because the TMO has got to make up his own mind. I mean, in this instance, I believe that the TMO said at one stage in the conversation that the ball had been grounded, and then he changed his mind. Whether that was because Nick Berry thought it hadn't, and the TMO went with him, I don't know. But I do agree with Nick in so much that, you know, if for the big games, for the test matches, you know, there is technology out there that could, you could make it far more understandable that, you know, that it is a try or not a try, and that technology should be brought into the game, because you know, at the moment we're a bit like sort of football, aren't we, where we're all arguing over a decision, when really the game needs to, you know, we don't need to spend 4 minutes looking at a try and then disallow it, and that's the end of the game. I mean, it's a complete letdown to everybody. You know, we need to speed the game up rather than try and slow it down. So any technology that can speed up a decision is welcome.
But what about making the TMO anonymous?
Yes, I mean, why not? Yeah, I mean, I don't care either way. You know, I mean, maybe you should say he's got to be accountable for what he decides. But I suppose he is. So we don't particularly need to know who he is.
Yeah.
Although that's quite difficult in practical terms, isn't it? Because I think we need to hear the dialogue. I mean, I think the spectators are owed that. And then once you hear the voice, you pretty soon start putting a name to a voice. So if you're going to have anonymous TMO, you don't hear any of the conversation between ref and TMO, and that sounds like
what they do in the. You have to do what they do in the sort of criminal.
Oh, in camera.
Overdub his voice.
Yeah, use a different voice changer or something like that. No.